You need to answer out loud if the judge calls your name.
Johnny Reyes.
Here.
And Brian Reisinger.
Here.
Richard Moore. Richard Moore is not here. Philip Morrell. Here. Linda Neely. Here. Jeffrey Marcotte.
Here.
And Edward Markovich. Edward Markovich, not here. Okay, William Hall. John Hobb. John Hobb, not here. Laura Kelly. Laura Kelly. Eric Walker. And Calvin Wells. All witnesses come forward, which I guess is Mark and Carrie DeLory.
Yeah, we'd like to try Carrie DeLory first.
All right, we'll try Carrie DeLory first. So all witnesses in Carrie DeLory's trial, raise your right hand. If you're going to be testifying in your own trial, you need to raise your right hand. You need to raise your right hand. You both solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give the court will be the truth. Yes? Hopefully yes. State gets to go first, Ms. DeLory, so call your first witness, which I'm assuming is Mark DeLory.
Yes, please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Mark DeLory.
Please spell your last name.
D-E, capital L-O-R-E-Y.
Mr. DeLory, do you know Carrie DeLory?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you know her?
It's my wife.
And how long have you had this relationship for?
We've been together about 2.5 years now.
Okay. On February 26, 1998, did you get into an argument with Miss Carrie DeLory?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, could you tell the court what happened?
Well, I showed up to fix her car, and when I got there, she had said she'd call my house, but she didn't. So she started like an argument with me because her boyfriend was on his way, and she didn't want to tell me that part of it. And I told her I was going to fix the car. That's what I came there for. I drove all the way across town just to fix the car. And it got into a little bit more of an argument of her trying to get me to leave because her boyfriend was on his way and she didn't want to tell me that. And I kept asking her if that was true. And then I had asked her if he was in the house. She had said no. Then my daughter had woken up. And she told me that my daughter was asleep, but I could hear my daughter screaming. And I was like, well, I'm going to go see her, and then I'll leave. And she started flipping out on me more about yelling and everything. So I had started to walk.
I'm sorry, you said flipping out? What do you mean by flipping out?
Just yelling at me back and forth.
Okay, so you were arguing at that time, both of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like an argument. So then I had walked towards the door, and she had ran. And like, as I was half in the door, she had shut the door on me. Like half on me, and as I was in the door, my daughter was still yelling. So I'd walked towards the back rooms, and I pushed the bedroom door open, and then I went into my daughter's room. You know, I was just checking to see if she was telling me the truth or not. So I opened the door, and then I went into the daughter's room. I picked my daughter up out of the crib, and that's when I was pushed from behind. And then
who pushed you?
She.
Who's she?
My wife, Carrie.
Okay. Is your wife Carrie DeLory stated? Okay, is she in the courtroom today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the person who pushed you, can you describe the article of clothing that she's wearing today?
Flannel dress.
May the record look like the witness has identified the defendant? Okay, and once she pushed you, what did you do?
I had tried to walk out of the room with my daughter, and she kept trying to restrain me because she thought I was going to take off with my daughter, but I wasn't going nowhere. I just wanted to calm her down and resolve this whole problem that was going on. So I walked out there, and then I said she would walk to the door and shut the door to like not let me out. So I told her just let me sit down on the couch and calm my daughter down because I wasn't going anywhere anyway. I mean, I love my wife to death and I'd spend the rest of my life with her if I could. But it's just, she just started flipping out on me about that.
Okay,
Then,
can I ask you one question? You stated that you had your daughter. How'd you have your daughter?
in my arms,
In your
holding
arms?
her, trying to
Okay,
calm her down.
and at the time that she pushed you, where was your daughter?
In my arms, same way.
Okay, and did you want to be pushed?
No,
Did you give her permission to push you?
no, I didn't.
Okay. Did this incident occur in Hillsborough County?
Yeah.
And you went back and sat down?
Yeah, I sat down onto the couch. Well,
Okay,
the
what
love
happened?
seat, and she was on the couch, across from me.
Okay, and did she ask you to leave?
Well, she wasn't asking me to leave because I had my daughter in my arms at the time, but she was telling me she wanted me to get out of the house. She wanted me to go. And my daughter was crying, and there was no way I was going to leave her in that. So I said, just let me calm my daughter down, and then I said, then I'll leave. And then she started yelling more, and then she had jumped on top of me trying to take my daughter. But she didn't jump on top of me, like got on top and tried to get my daughter from me. And I told her to leave me alone, and I pushed her back onto the other couch because it was like not even 5 feet away from each other. I pushed her back onto the other couch, and then I'd get up and start to walk out the door. And that's when there was a neighbor out there, and I'd yelled to him, and she was yelling bloody murder at the same time. She was screaming at the top of her lungs, saying I was trying to leave and that I was hitting her. And I'd never raised a hand to her.
Did you?
So I told the guy to call the cops.
Okay, did you call the police?
And the man across the street did.
Okay. Did you sustain any injuries?
No, not at the time.
And when you went over to the home, you had stated that, what was your reason for going over?
To fix her car, well, our car.
Did she ask you to come over and fix the car?
It was an agreement we had made the previous day.
Okay, so it was
Called
scheduled
her.
for you to come over?
I called and told her I was going to be over. I had called her 2 days before and told her I was on my way over to fix the car. That I'd be able to do it on that day because I had that day off. And then the next night she called me and we verified it. And I told her I'll be there tomorrow to fix the car. And I showed up at 9 o'clock in the morning, no, 10 o'clock in the morning. And that's when she had come outside, met me at the door when I pulled up and started all that.
No further questions.
Do you have any questions for Mr. DeLore? You're entitled to ask him a question right now. No? All right, any other witnesses for the state? State rests. All right, ma'am, it's your turn. You have the right to remain silent, though, since you're now the accused in this trial. You don't have to say anything or do anything, but if you want to, you can. But you just need to know she gets to ask you questions if you want to testify.
Yes, I do. One time I said, he came over to my house and I asked him to leave, and he wouldn't leave. So we started yelling. My daughter did wake up, and she was crying in the bedroom, and you could hear her outside. So I went in to shut the door. He barged the door up and thought I had a guy in the house. We running through all the rooms looking for a guy. He didn't find a guy. He went and got my daughter. And when he did go in my daughter's room together, I got scared he was going to take off with her because he did that before to me. And I thought he was going to take her, so I started screaming and yelling. And I didn't want him to leave. I was blocking him from the hallway to leave out the front door. And so he went out, and I went outside, and I started screaming for the neighbors to call the cops. He's trying to steal my daughter. And the cops came, and he said that I hit him. Actually, he choked me. When I was blocking him from the hallway, he did hit me in the lip. And that was on the police record. So, and he did choke me on the couch. But I thought he was going to steal my daughter because before I had a problem, he came over and he took my daughter. He did not live there. We've been separated for 9 months. When he came to my house and I asked him to leave, and he barged in the house.
Well, with regard to the incident, I'll sustain. But what did you say after that?
We've been separated for 9 months, and he came to my house and I asked him to leave. And he kicked the door open after I was trying to shut it. He was trying to get in. I didn't want him to get in because I was scared he was going to take my daughter. So when he did head out the door with her, I threw a fit and started screaming.
Okay. Anything else? You have questions?
He came over to your house that morning, is that correct?
Yes.
And you have a car together? Well, he came over to fix the car, is
My
that
car,
correct?
yes.
And you met him outside, so you were expecting him. Is that fair to say?
No, I saw him pull up and I came outside because I didn't want him to stay. I wanted him to leave.
Okay.